I'm really excited to announce our next speaker. I was with him in Washington, D.C. last year and watched him represent all of us in trying to defeat the Red Rock Wilderness Bill in a congressional committee last year. My good friend, Commissioner John Jones, Carbon County.
Hey, thanks a million. Let me tell you what, there's a whole different view from up here on the stage. Just kind of makes your hair stand up on your back of your neck to see this kind of support here. You guys are great. I want to tell you a little bit about Carbon County. Carbon County is just on the other side of this mountain range here, and we are the #2 energy producer in the state. Isn't that great? But the thing that you got to realize is 60% of our property taxes are paid by just 10 energy producing corporations that work there, all of which rely heavily on federal lands, folks. That's our jobs in the state of Utah, and we got to protect them. That's the reason right there that I am for responsible multiple use on federal lands, and I've gone out of my way to protect those rights. I'll tell you that if we stand together, we can make a difference. I don't care if you look at coal, oil, gas, recreation, or ranching. If you're doing it in the state of Utah, you're doing a portion of it on federal lands. And we need to work together to make sure our voice is heard. We need to pull those groups together so that when we lobby in Washington, D.C., all of those voices are heard as one. We'll become one of the largest lobbying groups in America if we did that. We just got to stand together. As I look at the things that's going on in this state, as they're trying to lock up our federal grounds and stuff, I can't help but look back at the initiative that President Clinton signed on October the 13th, 1999 for roadless forests. You know, to really take a look at what that did to our economy across the state of Utah, you have to look back prior to 1999. We have to look at the times that we had the small sawmills and so forth across our great state. In Carbon County, we had about 200 employees working in those sawmills. So if we was to average that out across the state of Utah, I'd say that we could have lost maybe 3,000 jobs from that one issue, from roadless forests. If you take a look at the grazing pattern and what's taken place over the last few years since 1999, in 2005 we had a $450 million industry in grazing here in the state of Utah. That's a pretty large deal. But what we've noticed is that cattle don't graze through deadfall, they graze around it. And in 2007, we've seen that amount drop down to $291 million, folks. That's the reason why we've got to stand together, because it doesn't matter if we're working on federal lands or if we're recreating on federal lands. We've got to protect our rights to go out there, and we got to stand together as one. You know, I'm going to end this speech today with a thought that I want you guys to take home. As I lobbied Congress on Red Rock Wilderness, I was out there working against the folks from SUA. I ran into a young lady in her office, and she said, "John, I want you to know that I'm 100% on your side. But there's something that you should know." She said, "I've received 750 letters from SUA." She says, "Where are your letters?" So folks, whenever you get those emails and so forth that says, write a letter and let them know your thoughts on this bill, write the letter and be counted. Because if you don't, you'll be one of the reasons why we would be unsuccessful in this fight. Let's stand together and win this one. Thanks a lot.